if we're picking up where we left off last episode, we were talking about developing an organic content strategy for founders or for brand accounts.
Yep.
Kind of talking about both. You were talking about founders. I was talking about brand accounts. And today is just part 2 of it. Last time I talked about looking at the content strategy through the lens of a content funnel. Think about middle funnel channel or top of funnel channels, middle funnel channels and platforms, and bottom of the funnel. Today, what I'm going to be talking about is the actual content funnel. What are examples of top of funnel content, middle funnel content, bottom of funnel content? And I won't spend too much time there because we've talked about that in the past. But the next thing I'm going to talk about is where to start with research to understand how, like the different content pillars and themes and types and formats that you should be creating, why like customer demographics and personas are just honestly BS. Specifically when you look at the nature of content now and like the landscape, it's changed so much. And so there's this idea that my friend Amanda from Spark Turo, I'm sure you've seen her on Twitter, Amanda I can't say the last name.
Feliz Navidad.
Yes.
Yeah.
She created something called audience personas. And then they have a really good framework for it that I think it's like the new way of looking at customer demographics and customer personas for the modern day age. And then after that, the last thing I'll talk about, because part 3, so next week's episode, I'm gonna go really deep into content types and ideation and like putting it all together, kind of taking all of part 1 and part 2 and turning it into a strategy. The last part I'm going to end with today is talking about how to develop a content team and like the people that you should have. If you're trying to take everything that we're saying, what does a lean team look like, at the bare minimum? So that's what I got.
Speaking of team, if anyone wants to join Team Nibble, got a creative director position open. So
creative director is a hard position to fill, dude.
Yeah, because I'm looking for juicy individuals. Those are hard to come by.
It's getting more sus and you just licked your lips. It's getting more sus by the minute.
Anyways, that's awesome. I'm going to be talking about basically how to create pages around your subject. And there's
like theme pages.
Yeah. So like theme pages are something that I don't think as an asset is fully understood at all. And I hope that this breakdown will help people understand how valuable you can make a theme page and how much traffic you can drive organically. The one we're going to go over, I'm just going to put a warning out there. It's a little gray hat. Like there's some claims on there that are preposterous, and this is not the most ethical thing that they did.
Is it the conservative page that you talked about last time?
No. Oh, this is like it's healthy tips. So it's a lot of natural health based product recommendations for, desired outcomes. But the reason I want to talk about it is because if you zoom out, a lot of the frameworks and formats that they use for their headlines and their content format is applicable to everything. You could make it about apparel. You can make it about furniture. You can make it about basically whatever product type you find yourself in. You can use this account as an example, and there's a lot to learn from it. So we're going to walk through some of their different most viral videos. This account has driven 45 million views on 62 posts, which is crazy.
Wow.
Almost averaging a million per post. And then the last part about it is just a daily reminder that like everyone in short form knows this, but 77% of their results have come from 8% of the videos.
Yep.
So
that is
that's just the way it goes.
That's the way it goes.
45 million views total. 35 of that came from 5 videos. So
yeah, I was gonna say most of my growth has come from 6 to 9 videos, like in that range.
Yeah,
I had my first video hit 1 million views.
My first million. You trying to dog whistle?
No.
All right. Get into it, man. Sounds like you got a jam-packed day.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about, and this will relay, but on the back end of last week's episode, is the content funnel. So this means looking at content types, content pillars, content themes, and understanding, okay, what is top of funnel, what is middle funnel, what is bottom of the funnel from the content that is on your feed. And what I mean by that is when I create a video that's talking about, let's say Nike's marketing strategy, that is very top of funnel because the world knows Nike. Right? If we're looking at Poor Boy Coffee, that's talking about, hey, this is day 20 of bootstrapping my coffee business. That's middle funnel to mostly bottom of the funnel, right? It's not that well known. They're not huge. They're not a brand everybody knows. It has the potential to be top of funnel. It's very good storytelling. But in reality, most of them are going to have some ceiling. So top of funnel content, we're thinking about what can cast a wide net. We kind of did this exercise on the pod last week where we looked at like an idea that I had, and then we turned it into more top of funnel, right? If I say day one of bootstrapping a media company while trying to train for the CrossFit Games, it's like, okay, that's middle of funnel, kind of bottom of the funnel when we talk about developing fandom. But how can we make it top of funnel? It's like trying to be the best dad while building a company, right? Because the building a dad part is the most relatable, or trying to raise a 1-year-old while doing XYZ. We're using the relatability to make the piece of content top of funnel. So anytime somebody's thinking about, and the reason I even bring this up is in Cut 30, we have this slide about top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. And we had 2 workshops with participants from Cut 30, and a lot of them would give us product content and be like, this is top of funnel. And it was like, no. Like, this is bottom of the funnel content. That, like, if they're not following you, like, only people that are going to see this content are the people that follow you.
Yeah.
Now, if in specifically the one I'm thinking about is this guy who has like really cool wine glasses. So it's like a wine glass and it could be like a mermaid in the middle, or like flowers. It wasn't mermaids, but like flowers.
Why'd you get mermaid?
Because I was thinking of colorful things like pink and
I feel
green.
like you play mermaids when you're in the pool. You
No.
keep posting on the gram like you're swimming.
I am swimming.
You're just flapping around.
I am swimming. And anyway, so like, it was like these kind of bottom of the funnel videos talking about like the product, versus it would be top of the funnel if you made it relatable by saying, hey, when the clock strikes 5 p.m., it's like pouring wine, right? It's ASMR wine, popping it open, pouring it. Like, that's what would make it top of funnel versus bottom, but you still get kind of bottom of funnel because you're putting the product in there.
Yeah, I mean, he could also do like breaking down the different types of wine glasses.
100%.
Like, because, for him, if he's making wine glasses, he wants to create content around the subject of wine. Everyone knows the subject of wine. Not everyone knows about your brand.
100%.
So what are the difference between the different circumferences of all these wine glasses? What is the purpose of them? Like all that shit.
It's a juicy topic.
Circumference?
The other thing, like, for example, the other things he could do is like how to smell wine, different aromas, and all of that shit is top of funnel. Because
reaction videos to that guy that's going viral, like spinning his wine. Like, there's all sorts of ways that he can kind of newsjack there too.
100%.
Yeah.
But that is what's top of funnel, because again, it's relatable to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Now he could like integrate bottom of the funnel things into the video of 7-8 seconds in by putting the product into what is top of funnel. Then middle of funnel. This is where I think about product education. This is where it is a little more specific. If it's marketing, for me, if it's marketing, like top of funnel could be me covering a recent marketing campaign that's very viral. Then middle of funnel is these playbooks, good content versus bad content. Again, they have the potential to go wide, but it's not something that maybe has the potential to get 10 million views. Top of funnel is like, it has that range. Whereas middle of funnel, it could get 1 million, it could get maybe 2, but it's not getting that every single time. It's getting 100, it's getting 200,000. But middle of funnel, I really think of product education, specifically for a brand. And this is really where you're going to gain most of your followers, because you're really thinking about, how do I become a resource?
Yeah.
Awareness, or top of funnel is about awareness.
Mm-hmm.
To me, middle of funnel is about becoming the resource, becoming the place of inspiration, entertainment, or education in regards to something. And then bottom of the funnel specifically, I like to think about 2 things. Either A, creating super fans. So this is my journey and getting people to buy into my journey. This is the idea of you create for followers and you create for your followers. This is creating for your followers. How do I get there in my ecosystem? How do I get them to consistently buy into what I'm doing, what I'm building, my products? And the other end is bottom of the funnel can also be testing ad creative, testing ideation around ad creative, and then also just testing what drives a significant amount of traffic.
Yeah.
So that's how I think of the content funnel before layering in on my end, like, the research and how we come up with different content pillars and themes for those things.
Yeah. I think the bottom of funnel as well is a good place to like really dial in your messaging.
Yeah.
And you mentioned creative testing, ad angle testing. Like, there's certain ways that you can say the same thing differently.
100%.
And so that's where you want to like incorporate it with your bottom of funnel. It's also, if you want to really zoom out and go back to, because a lot of the stuff we talk about is more so new age marketing, but if you want to go textbook marketing, there's problem aware, solution aware.
Yep.
And you're really like, if you're creating bottom of funnel content, I would, even to your point, I think middle of funnel content can be very, for people, solution aware. You know, they know that there's other creators, in your case, like there's other creators that first of all steal your series and your content ideas, but there's other people trying to do these breakdowns of different brands and their content styles, good content versus bad content. This company did this. And, you know, for your middle of funnel content, that's where you differentiate yourself, right? Like a lot of people are going to buy into Alex, the personality, and they're solution aware. They're already looking at different people on Instagram to follow for their marketing education. Yeah. So middle of funnel is a place where you differentiate yourself there.
Yeah.
And then problem aware, you know, that's people who I know that I have no freaking idea about anything with regards to wine. Every time the waiter asks me, what do you want? He's like, do you want it buttery or oaky? And I'm like, bro, I don't. Yeah. Fruity. You know what I'm saying? Pinky up.
Same.
Yeah. And so
Are you a fruity cocktail kind of guy?
What's that supposed to mean? What is
that? I'll be the first one to say that every drink I order is colorful.
Really?
Yeah. I'm
pink? Not. You're a martini glass kind of guy.
Pink, red, blues. I don't care about being the guy that's like drinking a whiskey on ice or whatever.
For sure.
Shit.
For sure. But that's because you're a dad. Your masculinity is secured.
I did this when I was 23, 24 at the Square.
Okay. Yeah.
It didn't matter.
No wonder you don't drink anymore.
It don't matter.
I think, yeah, I mean, I'm not a fruity cocktail guy. I'm actually the type of dude where if they give it to me in like a glass, it's kind of femme, I'll be like, hey, bro, I'm gonna need like you to make a, you know, tall cylinder glass for me. Anyways, I think, you know, problem aware, solution aware is very like the getting down to the absolute basics of this wine glass, bro, that you're talking about, or lady. I'm problem aware that my wine knowledge sucks. And so you creating content that addresses that problem for me and educates me in an entertaining way is going to catch for my attention.
100%. However,
I'm not really solution aware enough that I'm making any sort of decision about what wine glasses to get for my crib. Yeah. Like I need dope wine glasses. Yeah. I'm not going to get captured by his, like he's not going to get my attention and get my buy-in without kind of building that relationship and affinity first.
Without the bridge.
Exactly.
You need the bridge to the product. That's why I think middle funnel is helping someone become product aware.
Yeah.
Like you're really hammering in on pain points and solutions and et cetera, but you're also like just putting little sprinkles of product aware into that content.
And as dumb as this sounds, like it's called a funnel for a reason. Like the top is like literally so much wider, and you're trying to not necessarily like reach the most amount of people, but you're trying to get the most amount of people in that top so that you have a chance to convert them.
100%.
It's the same thing with any CRO to a website. I was actually debating this with a buddy who runs a lot of bigger e-commerce brands, and we were saying, you know, CROs, like conversion rate optimization, is one of the most misunderstood and easy to waste places to spend money, because you're not going to change your business with changing a button color on your website. But like the thing is, when you're getting hundreds of thousands of site visits a month, and if you can gently nudge those to be, you know, 0.1% more, that's going to lead to increased revenue. The way to do that is a lot of the times more so like people always love to romanticize, oh, I just made this one change and it had this huge lift. It's like, no, like it's like this relentless testing process of like moving different words in your headlines and like putting bestsellers at the top versus bestsellers 3 sections down.
How you bundle your products, the pricing, how you gamify, like all that shit plays into CRO.
It's a much deeper science than a lot of people like to believe. Yeah. And the other thing I would say to that point, and this is pretty off topic, but like if you have a site that's already 80% good, like CRO is probably not going to be the thing that saves you, because best case scenario, it gets you to like 82% good, you know, versus like if your site's just ass, then you probably need to talk to somebody about that.
100%.
So research, what are you doing for research?
Okay. So first I'm going to start with the problems with customer personas. So if you look at Prince Charles and Ozzy Osbourne, on paper, they look identical. Have you ever seen this meme?
Fuck.
Yeah, I
got me there.
I hit you out of left field.
No. That was actually crazy.
Okay. So the problem with customer personas is
I've never been hit with clickbait in person.
That was clickbait the first time. You clicked, baby. You clicked. You're on the
No,
landing
you
page
did.
now. So the problem with customer personas, it's all about demographics, age, all that bullshit, right? Let's look at Prince Charles and Ozzy Osbourne on paper. Both are males, both born in 1948, both raised in the UK, both married twice, both live in a castle, both are wealthy and famous.
Yeah.
Completely different people.
And pretty sus activities,
Yes.
extracurriculars.
Yes. So you look at both of them on paper, if you're building out a customer persona, it's like, well, shouldn't the same content reach these people and have the same impact? And it's like,
Yeah.
no. So when we're developing a customer persona, we actually want to be looking at audience personas. And this really stems and like comes from this place of understanding their motivations, their pain points, their actual job titles, their sources of influence, like the websites they read, the social media accounts they follow, the podcasts that they listen to. And so Amanda, because I want to make sure I give her credit, is she developed what are called audience personas. And these are the people that you should be tailoring your content towards and then understanding how they work in congruency with you and your content strategy to help whatever your goal is, hit that goal. So there's the buyer persona. This is the individual that actually is someone that's very specific to your customer, right? The buyer persona is the individual that you're making content, mostly middle funnel, bottom of the funnel content for. Obviously they come in top of funnel, but it's this idea of these are the people that have motivations and specific pain points that you're going to answer and tailor your content for it, because you can get them into your just as a customer into your ecosystem. Then the interesting one I think is the amplifier persona. This is somebody that is like you or me, not you, me, that has a larger newsletter, has a larger audience, I'm going to take these shots every time I can. And guys, I'm not taking shots to like try to be cool, nothing like that. We just got about 30 to 40 clips in the chamber for Brian. Sweat equity clips. Kate, leave this in.
I got
30 to 40 clips that he just doesn't post. This man could have 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 followers on IG. He does it because he doesn't post clips. You know what I mean? So attention is
what if I'm self-conscious? That's something that our audience might resonate with. Sometimes you get a little, nervous, post a clip.
Just post it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, no, I'm capping.
I know you are. That's what just post it.
Yeah.
So the amplifier persona is that individual that like they curate content, they talk about content. And if you could get on their radar and they're in your ecosystem, they're going to amplify your content. It's the people that take content to talk about content through their platforms. This is the amplifier. So you're thinking of this person as a sounding board to just get your content out there. There's people that take my content and then go film a podcast and talk about the same thing. They give me credit the same way I'm doing to Amanda here. I'm in the amplifier persona like cohort because I'm taking her content, her blog, and talking about it, putting it on the podcast, putting it in clips. Then there's the attention persona. And these are people that would possibly pay for your content, but they're always consuming your content, right? These are the individuals that want to consume all of your content. And this plays a lot into the whole content funnel. This idea of a content funnel is like, okay, there's some people that are only ever going to pay attention to you because they're learning from you, right? That's top of funnel and possibly middle of funnel. Then there's the amplifier. That's more middle funnel, bottom funnel. You're developing relationships with these people. They amplify you. Then at the bottom of the funnel, it says buyer persona is the individual that is a customer. So how do you understand what content to make to be able to reach these different kinds of people? So starting with macro to micro research. So the idea here is like, how do you lay the foundation for what you're going to be developing your content strategy on the back end of? So the first thing you could do is you could use tools like Google Trends, Exploding Topics, BuzzSumo to kind of find industry and category trends, right? Then, because the goal is to understand what trends are they looking at, what content are they consuming, what is popular right now. So then I could bridge the gap and understand what on the micro level, what is that my audience consuming? And then you really bridge the gap. And this is going to sound like a show for SparkTuro. I use SparkTuro. Like you could really bridge the gap.
I thought the whole segment was a shill on SparkTuro.
Amanda's my girl, dude. She's great. So like anytime I can amplify her.
As a non-newsletter, bro, I'm just like, what are we giving these dudes credit for?
It's a great you've never used it. You'd get so much gain from using SparkTuro for your agency.
Yeah.
No, like dead ass. You're missing out on it.
I'm just of the culture. I don't need it.
I promise you do.
Chronically online.
I'm on the culture too. I'm chronologically. What did you just say?
Chronically online.
I just said chronologically. I am.
You're on
online.
the timeline. I'm lurking. That's why I'm chronically online.
I'm online all day. So I'm there with you. But it helps a lot. Specifically being able to understand like do brand research and understand what other accounts they're following that you would have never seen. It helps. But anyways, um, I'm using Google Trends, Exploding Topics, BuzzSumo, all these different tools to really understand what's popping in that category. And there's a lot of sleeper things that I don't know that I could find there. And then again, I'm bridging the gap. So the reason I do all this is like the way I'm going to find how that, what is the micro, what are they consuming? With Spark Turo, I can put something specific and I could get the top words in their bio, the top hashtags they use. And I'm going to tell you why this is relevant. Frequently used phrases, which I think is if your content team is integrated with your email and SMS and all that shit, like understanding what frequently used phrases are and things that they're saying, not only does it give you power to understand what content you should make, it also tells you what you should be using in your email, SMS, landing pages.
Yeah.
Gender distribution, not as important to me. Top jobs, roles, fields. And then the most mentioned skills. Again, I'm more so looking at top words in bios, top hashtags used, frequently used phrases. Then it's showing me what I think is most interesting. What are the social accounts that are related to that, whatever I initially searched? And then it shows me the top ones and like the percent of individuals that follow that account that I searched plus these accounts. So now I get a percentage of like 70% of people that follow this also follow this and follow this and follow this. Now I could go through there and I could look at all the content types, pillars, themes, reverse engineer what the top performing content is. Then I could look at influential sites and press. Like it'll also show me, is this person on A16Z? Is this person on entrepreneur.com? Whatever it is. Like those are lame ones to use, but it'll show me, I'm taking shots today. It shows me all the influential sites that they're consuming and on repeatedly. Same thing with podcast. And then it even shows me kind of a little bit of their target demographic. So now by showing me job titles. So by doing that, I now have like this, essentially like a bunch of different pillars that I can start pulling from to develop my content strategy. Which I think like, again, for somebody that doesn't know where to start, this lays a lot of groundwork. And the reason I had a conversation with, I won't out them, but a brand that has $1 million to launch, which is a good amount of money. And when it came to content strategy, they had no idea where to start.
Yeah.
No idea. They're like,
it's foreign to a lot of people
because they just think of ideas.
Yeah.
I have this idea. I have this idea. I have this idea. And it's like, well, how does that play into the macro? Right? You're thinking micro, how does it play into the macro? And that's a problem. And so if you can look at everybody in the space and look at what your audience is consuming now and what's working and what has high engagement, and then reverse engineer and come up with something, that's where, you have somewhere to start. You have the foundation.
There's no quicker way to waste money than to just assume your ideas are correct.
Yes.
Like if you don't do the research before and understand that there's some sort of baseline level demand for the things you're trying to create, then you are so fucked.
Yes.
And that remains true, always remains true. And it's counterintuitive. I manage a team of creators, and that's still something that we have to emphasize. Like TikTok has a tool that allows you to search where there is a content gap on the platform between what people are searching for and unmet needs from a content output perspective.
Yeah.
I can't think of a better place to go find content ideas, but it still needs to be a weekly reminder.
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't intuitive stuff to a lot of people. If it feels intuitive to you, then you're one of the lucky ones. But for the most part, there's a lot of brands that could, benefit from that.
So I'll end with this part in this segment. If you're a brand and you're developing a content strategy, then your content strategy needs to answer these 8 questions. Number 1, who are they? Who is that individual? What are they consuming? Is it multiple people? Is it multiple personas? Who is that individual? Number 2, what are their motivations? You have to again, reverse engineer why they're on the platforms, why they're consuming that content, so that you can understand what content you create for them. Number 3, what are their pain points? When you want to move someone from top of funnel to middle funnel, bottom of funnel, you need to understand what their pain points are so you could introduce your product in the right way. Number 4, what are the 5 to 10 influential social accounts that they're following? Here, I want to understand what are they engaging with? What are they constantly consuming? Because Steve Jobs said, great artists steal. Like, you want to be able to take this and repackage it. In the world of social media, you're thinking about repackaging. Same way somebody looks at Mr. Beast and takes what he's doing with game shows and like recreates it, repackages it for social. You want to do the same. What are 5 to 10 influential website and or press sites? Same thing. Where are they consuming? What are the hot things within your category that you can own, that you can dominate, or you can make a content pillar while it's still relevant? Next is 3 to 5 influential podcasts. Again, I like to look at what are the long form pieces of content that these individuals are consuming, because there's a lot of depth there. Those are the individuals that are really super fans. If they're consuming a podcast, they've bought into that brand, they bought into that person. What are they doing? What are they consuming there? What's working there? What is most segment filter by most popular? Again, to understand what is their target audience. Then the last thing, 3 to 5 trends or topics that are likely to be top of mind. The last part, the reason for that is those are going to work in congruency with your content pillars and your themes. If you can understand what's trending in a category, you can take what's trending in a category and figure out how you spin it to become a content pillar within your content strategy. Example, hybrid athletes is something that is popping off. It is trending. It is fake. But if you look at the graph, it is just growing and growing.
No, it's huge.
By understanding that, and if you're in the fitness space, or if you're in my space where you're talking about marketing for fitness and wellness brands, I could look at that data, then I could see what content those individuals are then consuming, right? If I put Nick Bare into SparkTuro, and then SparkTuro tells me, listen, these pods, these YouTube channels, these social accounts, I can see, okay, like what are the common denominators here of what works? I could take this data from the trending category or pillar, and I can now pull it all together to be like, these are my content pillars. I'm going to be making brand content playbooks all about X, Y, Z, high rocks, CrossFit games, whatever things that fall under hybrid athletes. You know what I'm saying? And so like, this is a way to just be able to connect the dots looking backwards, when most brands only look forward when they're trying to connect dots, and that's just not going to work.
What you just described, especially with, looking into Nick Bare, it's you need to look at that, and then like everyone has their own original set of circumstances or lived experiences to color their perspective. And so, yes, people are consuming Nick Bare's stuff. How does your spin combined with Nick Bare's stuff ride a wave?
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that I think is practical with what you just said, because it's obviously like that's really good, dense information for people to understand. But like the most practical way to look at that is don't just do like a cap cut trend or a meme because everyone else is doing it. If you're going to do it, you can actually put your own spin on it in a way that shows a new collection 100%. Or like shows a new product drop that you're doing, or just kind of like use memes in a way that actually is productive rather than, is something that you're just kind of like doing to put a post on the timeline.
All right, I'm going to wrap up my segment of the pod. I know I've been hogging the mic for a minute. So I'll end with this. If you're a brand that just developed a content strategy, or you're trying to develop a content strategy, what team do you need to build to be able to execute on that? I'm going to start with a lean team, and it's semi-lean because I also think it's very important to have a killer content team. So first person, you're going to have a head of content. This is the obvious one. Or if like you want to get very like 2030, I think you're going to have a chief content officer. I think it's not like that far out, but some brands are doing it, but it's not like a normal thing yet.
I think every brand should have it.
100%, but they don't have it yet. It's not there's some brands that are doing it.
Yeah.
Anyways, the head of content is focused on testing strategies, content strategy, performance, developing the narrative, the stories that are trying to be told through social, the content pillars, types, formats, and themes, right? That is their goal. That is what they do. And they make sure everybody else executes against that. Then you want to have a top of funnel creator. This individual's entire goal is to go viral and drive massive awareness and to try to grow your account and get you in front of as many eyeballs as possible. That is the top of funnel creator. That is their sole goal. Then you have somebody that is the middle of funnel, bottom of funnel creator. And this person is great at product education, ad testing, and driving traffic / conversions. Then you have the analyst. And this is the last person on the team. This is someone who looks at the strategy from the high level with the head of content, the top of funnel creator, and the middle of funnel / bottom of funnel creator. And they're able to communicate everything that's working, everything that they're doing, and everything that's resonating with the audience as high engagement, and connect it and communicate it to every other team. the email team, the SMS team, the landing page team, because you want content to not operate in a silo, but work in congruency with those other parts of the growth engine. So for example, what educational content performs well? Okay, so that person, now the analyst takes that and goes, hey, we should write an email around this like central theme, right? That's central to product education. Or a landing page. This hook worked really well. Let's use this as a headline for this landing page that matches with this email. So if you're building a lean team, those are the 4 people you need: a head of content, top of funnel creator, a middle funnel / bottom of funnel creator, and then an analyst that communicates with the rest of the team.
Yeah, a lot of teams are really deficient in those different positions. I think what stands out whenever I'm looking at how do we fit into someone's performance marketing mix in particular, because at the end of the day, everyone that's in creative work thinks their shit's important. You're not. Like, sorry to break it to you, you're not any more important than the guy doing finance. Everyone's got a job. And the problem is people in creative don't like to report nearly enough data-driven insights to the rest of the squad to justify their work, their cost, all of that stuff. And so that's
they're usually not good at it.
Well, that's just where you see a disconnect. It's like a lot of people will be like, hey, this is top of funnel views. And then the team responsible for the bottom line is like, why do I care? They can't connect it to tangible conversion impressions. Like, so building that bridge of communication through data is critically important. I think the analyst thing is like really underrated. Like
super
one of the
underrated.
biggest ways I have really I mean, look, working with brands doing $2 billion in GMV, like they care about, like, what you notice is the people that, or at least I notice, is the people that I'm reporting to want me to make it easy for them to report to their superiors. So your entire goal with any sort of content strategy reporting is like, hey, this is exactly what happened. These are the key factors. This is the week over week growth. And this is what we learned. If you can communicate that to an executive who then can just take 5 minutes out of his day to be like, oh, interesting, here's my thought, that's going to really accelerate your ability to get more budget for your content.
100%. And I'll give you a conversation that I had last week, and I won't put the brand out there because it's a brand that's doing 200+ million, huge brand, been around for a long time. And I was talking to their head of brand and strategy, and we were talking about content, and basically what he told me was like, look, we're in a transition period right now. Like we have a PR team, we have a brand team, we have a social strategy team, and we have a social team. They all operate by themselves and they all kind of do their own thing. To me, that is like such a red flag when you think about how modern companies should work in congruency and shouldn't operate in silos. That is such a problem. And that's a big problem that you need to fix. And then it shows, because if you look at the roots of the company and then you look at their social engagement, dude, it was like 0.005%. 200,000 of followers, hundreds of thousands of followers, post getting 29 likes.
Yeah.
There's a big problem there. Something I said in one of the videos I posted recently is like, your engagement rate isn't just some number. It's not a glorified number. Like, that is data. If it is very low, you're creating not terrible content. You're creating content that your audience doesn't care about.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah. Well, like, it could be good. You can make good content that your audience doesn't care about. And I guess you could define good content. I get what you're saying. You could define good content as it has to be something that your audience wants to consume.
I actually vehemently disagree. I think especially the entire thesis around the short form revolution is that if content is good, it will get amplified. And people like to cry about like, oh, I thought this was a good piece of content and it didn't perform. Your watch time was 3 seconds.
Yeah.
It was shit. And that's just real. And you get to a point, I mean, at least for me, I'm putting out 100 of those motherfuckers a week. People will cry about it. They'll be like, oh, I thought this was a good video. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So figure it out.
Yeah.
And, especially with those big brands, that's the sleeping giant for all of them, right? Is what if you actually did give a shit about improving your public perception? What if you did care about driving traffic in the same way that a lot of these new age brands are doing it? Most of them have really compelling, good stories to tell, but they don't see the value, and so they don't invest in it, versus that's really the best way to get off the ground. And so a lot of these current brands have no choice.
And that's a or a part of the part 3 of this podcast series that I'm gonna touch on next week is like, how do you convince somebody that's rooted in legacy and is an old brand and convince them to think new, and think in a modern way? Because this brand that I'm talking about was started in 1977. They have rich history, but you would never know of any of it unless they started putting the right content out there.
Yeah. And usually you find out about the history in like some puff piece in Forbes from 6 years ago. And
I shouldn't have to go to Wikipedia, right? Like I shouldn't have to dig for it.
No.
It should hit my feed. If I'm a customer, it should hit my feed.
So a lot of people can make really compelling founder brand content if they feel confident about getting on camera. But if you don't feel like getting on camera, that doesn't mean you're fucked. You actually can make really cool viral content. You just have to know what to do. So this account that I found is called healthytips, and healthytips has around 100,000 followers, and they've actually had a lot of really successful videos, 62 posts overall, 45 million views in total, around 500,000 likes and 300,000 shares across all 62 of their posts. What's interesting is, like many times when we are examining an account, the lion's share of their results have come from 5 videos. So 35 million out of those 45 came from 5 videos. That's 77%.
Is it health_tips_?
It is healthy tips with 3 Y's and 2 S's,
okay.
all one word.
I thought it was this account, and I'm like, yo, this isn't a different.
No,
okay.
That's no. This is real niche internet shit, deep cut type of stuff you only get on Sweat Equity Podcast, for real. Anyways, so how are they going viral so consistently, and what are they doing? Because this person clearly has nothing. This is a random person. Like when you go to their website, like they do not have an expensive website. They are running traffic to an affiliate link in bio and trying to sell products that way. Looks like they started a brand, Primal Queen, at some point. It's like pretty ratchet. Like this is like really like bottom of the barrel shit, but they're really good at making content. And it's because they're speaking the language of people of the masses. Like they're communicating things that feel as though they've been gatekept and are secrets to achieve a dream outcome. How do they do that? Every single video follows the same format. Every single video says, my older sister was a Zara model for 6 years. Here's everything they made her do that will blow your mind.
Oh, I saw this video. Yeah.
And
okay.
So no, there's another one where Victoria's
Secret model or something.
Yeah. She's like, my mom was the Kardashians' plastic surgeon. These are all the things they are following to live longer. I was a Lululemon model. These were the things that were required of us to maintain our appearance. I mean, my mom was the highest paid Playboy model for 13 years. Cap. It's all cap. No, nothing on this page is true, right? And so to a certain extent, like they are comfortable lying, and we don't encourage that. In fact, we actually encourage people to stop the cap.
Yeah.
But like this account is so good at appealing to people's subliminal thoughts. Like everyone wants to feel more beautiful. And so everyone is also simultaneously aware that, optional or not, you're kind of getting poisoned by your outside environment, whether that's food, pollutants, clothes, you name it.
Cade would say boxers.
So, what is their format? Every single hook follows this. My loved one or me. So it's like person close to me or me was X authority figure. And this is what they did to maintain their beauty, or not necessarily maintain their beauty, but this is what they were required to do to maintain that status. So important note there, they're establishing authority. They are establishing, and again, I know this is fake, but they're establishing that this is someone you should listen to. Of course, if I'm trying to be skinnier and hotter, I want to listen to a Lululemon model, right? She was professional at that. That's like saying, yeah, I want to learn how to dribble from Steph Curry. Obviously you do. So, after that, it's some sort of leak. It's a reveal of information. It's the stuff that they, air quotes, don't want you to know. But here's the catch. The tips don't plug the creator's products right off the bat. Like they'll go into 3 different other recommendations that are just kind of general esoteric health tips. So for example, She was sent a tub of moringa powder every week to help calm her tummy. You know, as she got older, her stomach became a bit flabby. So to counteract this, she had to take a beef organ supplement. Like, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy the level of cap in this. But like, I mean, one of the things was they said they made them rub raw potatoes on their skin because it reduces acne, which is fucking hilarious. And it's your fault if you believe any of this, by the way. But
I mean, I had a pimple last week. Got a red potato.
Put that fucking skinned potato on there, Playboy. It'll be back as good as new. So, you know, they go into like bee pollen and how to use raw potatoes and rubbing ice cubes on your stomach to flatten it. Like a lot of kind of urban legend type shit. And right after they've put 2 to 3 of those out, then say, and they would use this product, which is just magical. And it's also linked in my bio if you want to take a look at it. Like, okay, so by this time, if you're still watching the video, you're pretty bought in. I want to laser in on the format, especially for people that aren't on the YouTube, because, you know, we'll show this video on the YouTube, but this format is a 20-second video of 5 different images with text written over them, and that is it. It is literally a slideshow video. It is not heavily produced. It does not require real actors. It just requires like generic images and some compelling copy, and it works. It's unbelievable how simple this is, and the critical math. Like if you think about how much you would have to pay. So if you think about 45 million views at a $20 cost per 1,000 impressions, what is the value of the views that this account has run up? Around 900K.
Yeah.
So they effectively just drove $900,000 worth of paid traffic to their landing page, to their affiliate link, all by just creating these slideshow videos on Instagram. Yeah. That's insane. I mean, imagine showing any sort of brand that you could save $900,000 of your marketing budget in traffic just by creating compelling content. Everything is so top of funnel. Like that's the other thing. We've talked so much about all of this. Like the format is very simple. You know, I was an X and this is what they made us do to ensure Y result. That can apply if you're in the apparel industry. This is just a framework for telling your story. I was a fashion designer and this is what we did to always sell out our drops. Every person in apparel is going to watch that video. Every single person. Like dupe.com, who we talked about the other day, they did a very similar thing. I was a tech bro and I was victimized by this industry, so I developed this product to fix it. Like what you want to do, this is the process to create faceless content, is you want to identify your target audience's dream outcome. You want to position yourself as an authority due to your previous experience. You want to get very specific about the steps that you need to take. One of these things that's crazy about all of the videos is in the instructions, they include both time and frequency at which you're supposed to use the products. This makes it feel more real. Yeah. You're supposed to do this twice a day. Like
the routine that they need to follow. Yeah.
Go rub an ice cube on your tummy once a day, big dog. Like it's crazy. Like it's so funny. And so get very specific about the steps, because don't just say, you know, take this supplement. Say, take this supplement morning and night. Yeah. Because that next layer of believability comes through the specificness. Last, don't just say I'm not gatekeeping. Like the reason that people believe people is because of their past authority. Yeah. Like I don't care what John Kaufman has to say about clothes. He's wearing Costco.
I gotta jump in. Not at all.
Huh?
Not at all. Don't
yeah, like I like you're in straight Kirkland. You know what I'm saying? Like
Kirkland
don't tell me how to build a fashion brand. But if someone's like, I was a street label designer at Supreme for 12 years. This was how all of our 5 best drops had this formula. Fuck yeah. Give me the formula.
John's take on that would be like, here's how I coded this site for this streetwear brand. Then I would listen.
Next. No. Even deeper is, first of all, if he wanted to create content for a streetwear label, yes, sure. Yeah. But John is a great example of, he's a computer science guy. That's crazy. I mean, he's a coder. I don't know.
Yeah, but developer.
Yeah, John is a developer, and so like his audience is people that would use
John's him
dev services. He's him. He's absolutely him. And so with him, he would say, I've built sites for IBM, and like they have like this massive enterprise client list. He'd say, I've built sites for IBM, HubSpot, and so. these are the three things. These are my 3 tips for creating a high converting landing page. Like establishing your subject matter expertise and like who you are to get listened to in the first place will earn someone's attention for the rest of the video. So once you've gotten their buy-in, intro your product in the CTA and tell people where to go. Like all of those videos say, this is the product, I can't live without it. Go to the link in my bio, and that's where you can get it for exclusive offer. So layer that stuff in later once you've gotten their buy-in. But, you know, we'll link some of these videos in here. It's like, it's so, if you can take yourself out of how gray hat this is and how kind of, you know, borderline, I mean, this is not legal.
It's unethical,
this is unethical.
They're still learning.
But like, imagine not learning from unethical people because, you know,
they're usually the best at what they're usually the best.
They're running it up crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, how can I legitimize this unethical thing? I think that's actually, you know, a pretty big unlock for a lot of people. But yeah, really impressive what they've been able to do. $900,000 of ads.
What's crazy to think about though is all they're doing is taking listicles the same way people rank for these on Google and turning it into like the modern day content format where it's a listicle with an affiliate code, the same way you do this with SEO.
Yeah.
It's that same, you know, it's the same move.
Yeah. And, you know, another thing that makes it interesting is they know their target audience. They know exactly what the audience is looking for. The audience is looking for something that we discussed a couple of weeks ago as well, which is confirmation bias of, you know, I've always thought that Zara models and Playboy models had a different set of rules that they just didn't tell me. That's how they stayed so skinny and hot. Like they're playing into that emotion. They're also playing into the emotion of, I believe that everything around me is now toxic. And so I'm seeking natural health remedies. That's a big cohort of folks. So again, how do you apply that to something else? Like maybe it's, again, going back to the apparel thing, like shorts not fitting well, or like you just believe that like people with big quads wear shorts better. It's like, they don't.
I appreciate it because I feel like you made that example because of me or Cade, but most, you know.
He's got some, you know.
Some juicy thighs, Brian.
Fucking thick ass
See what?
Python quads. No homo. If I didn't say no homo, we probably could have left it in. But, you know, you just don't know. I bet we don't have a big gay audience.
Leave that in there too. All right, I got to wrap this up. I have a meeting. This is part 2. Part 3, let's get super tactical. I think it would be interesting to develop a content strategy live. We'll take a brand. We've had some brands reach out to us and be like, hey, can you give us some free game? We need to get back to that. Let's actually take 1 or 2 of them and, I mean, put this together for them.
Yeah. I'm in.
God, bro. You and your energy sometimes is crazy. All right, guys, that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this episode, just go to YouTube, do us one simple favor, like and subscribe, mostly subscribe. Make sure you watch past 10 minutes. That's only going to help us. Hats will be here next week. Other than that, I got nothing. You could follow me, Alex Garcia _ATX. Brian, where you at?
At Brian _Bloom on Instagram and Twitter.
Dope. All right.
Peace.